ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरे प्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णा प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णा चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थसुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदयादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहैतुकी। We are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 29, verse number 9. So we read that this is Sri Krishna, he played the flute and then gopis came, and some gopis were stopped but they still came and others could not. So that is the sloka we have been reading. Antargriha gata kaschit gopyo alubdha vinirgama Krishnam tad bhavna yukta dadhyu milita lochana. So some went inside the house, Antargriha gata, because they were blocked there and they could not come out. So they just meditated on Krishna. Dadhyu milita lochana. So we were reading the commentary on this sloka, which was quite long, by Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So basically what he said is that there are 4 types of gopis. They are divided in 2 groups, Nitya Siddha gopis and Sadhana Siddha gopis. So Nitya Siddhas are those who are eternally with Krishna, they come with him when he comes on earth, they leave. And Sadhana Siddhas are those who become perfected by performing sadhana here. And Sadhana Siddha have 2 groups in them, Yautiki and Ayautiki. Those who are part of a group and those who are not part of a group. Those who are part of a group have further 2 divisions, which are called Shrutichari and Rishichari. So these are the Upanishads who became gopis and the sages who saw Lord Ramachandra and became the sages. So this is what we read, and now he was talking about that among these sadhana siddhas there are further 2 groups. So there are one group, they were all born here. So one of them, or some of them, they got association of the Nitya Siddha gopis, and by their association they got completely purified, and therefore they, although were married, but they did not have any association with their husbands because they were completely spiritual in their bodies, and Yogamaya created another duplicate gopi who associated with the husband and not these gopis. And these are the gopis who went and met Krishna along with the Nitya Siddha gopis. Nitya Siddha also went and they went. So these are the ones which, although they were also stopped by their husbands or fathers or whoever, but they could not. And then the explanation was that because Yogamaya created another one, and the husbands thought that these gopis are still with them. That's why later on the sloka will come, Nasuyen Khalu Krishnaya Mohita Tasya Maya. That they did not become envious of Krishna, being bewildered by Yogamaya of Krishna, because Swasva Parsvast, because they thought that their wives were present with them, although the real ones, or whichever you call, have gone. It's difficult to figure out which is real one. And the other ones is the one which we are still going to read. So now again we have to remember, which I have been saying again and again, that this whole description is to teach us about what is Uttama Bhakti. And this is the Sahityak style, this is a pedagogy. Because Shastra means which gives instruction. So there are 2 words in Sanskrit, one is Shastra, other is Shastra. So there are 2 ways to discipline human beings, and it is most difficult part in this creation. The only people who need to be disciplined are human beings. Nobody disciplines anyone else. So human beings are the biggest danger to the whole creation, because now they are going to spoil Jupiter, Moon, everywhere. They are not satisfied simply destroying this planet. Now they will go elsewhere also. So what is that guy Musk? He wants to send 40,000 satellites into the space. So you can imagine the effect of that. So it is human beings for whom Shastra and Shastra exists, because it's a problem to discipline. And these are 2 ways to discipline. One is by force, that if you don't follow, I give you a whack. And everybody is scared of that because we identify with our bodies. Another is that I put some sense into your head and you understand, so you follow. So one is external discipline, other is internal discipline. One is disciplining you from outside by force. Other is to discipline you from inside. Means I convince you that this is good for you, so you do that. So these are the two ways, and therefore two important, you say, groups of people existed in India for this purpose only. There were Kshatriyas who were disciplined by shastra, and there were Brahmanas who were disciplined by shastra. And that's why Indian society was so disciplined and it progressed. Because if there is no discipline, you cannot progress, cannot be happy, you will suffer. Because there will be indiscipline, adharma and karma and all things. So this shastra, shasti iti shastra, that which instructs you, what teaches you, that is what is called shastra. And shastra has some techniques to instruct. So one of them is telling stories, and then telling stories not just to tell you some history, but tell story to instill some thoughts in your mind. And there are various levels of instructions. The highest instruction which we can have, which we can learn, is love. There are other instructions, that you should be truthful, you should be non-violent, do not steal, right? So, do not kill, thou shalt not steal, or thou shalt whatever, all these commandments. So, commandments is shastra, the instructions. So,
what's the difference between these two words, shastra and?
Shastra. So one is to hurt.
They sound same to me.
Shastra and shastra. One is long A and one is short A. So one means to instruct and one means to hit, to hurt, to be violent. So one is shashu hinsayam dhatu, another is shashu anusishta. Dhatus look similar but they have different meaning. So one means to hurt, to hit, to be violent, other is to give instruction. So the highest instruction is the instruction on love. And it is very difficult to instruct love, because love is beyond law. So it's also beyond instruction. Yeah, but this is the real thing to be understood. Etavadeva jigyasam tattva jigyasuna atmana anvayavatirekaabhyam yatsat sarvatra sarvada. This is actually the essence of Vedic literature, this love, Krishna prema. Therefore Krishna says, Vedascha sarvair ahameva vedya. But it is very difficult to give instruction on this. And therefore, we can understand instructions where you say, if you do this, you will get this benefit. If you do this, you will get that benefit. If you perform pious activity, you go to heaven. That carrot and stick technique, that is one way of giving instruction. Like children also, you do that. If you do your homework, you will get this. Otherwise, you cannot watch TV. Right? You do that. Punish or reward. Reward, punishment. But love cannot be done with that. Love does not. If it is done on that, it is not love. Because love means where you give yourself happily, without thinking of any reward. If you are thinking of a reward, then it is not love. So this is very difficult to instruct somebody about that. Because the way we work is on the basis of raga and dvesha. That's our whole life rotates on these two words, raga and dvesha. We do something in which we have raga, liking, and we avoid something which we dislike. We have dvesha for that. That's how we work. And this is the way most of the dharma is teaching. The religion, that's how they utilize this principle of raga and dvesha to instruct you. That's how the concept of heaven and hell. So sukha and dukkha, these are the two basic emotions, pleasure and pain. So then pleasure you like, pain you dislike. You have raga for pleasure, you have dvesha for pain. So when I know this, and everybody has this is common to all human beings, all living beings, not only human beings. So then I discipline you by using this. That I want you to do something, so I say, you do this, I will give you this. And don't do this, if you do that, I will punish you. So this is another way of disciplining you. And love is beyond that. So this is the raga and dvesa is what you generally see. All the codes, all the laws are based on that. That's what we study. But this guna dosha, drishi dosha, gunastu bhaya varjita. But the real virtue lies beyond that. So that comes when you love it from your heart. So that is another type of raga. It's also called raga, raga bhakti or raganuga bhakti or ragatmika bhakti. But this is raga for Krishna. Now our raga and dvesa are related to our physical body, and therefore they limit us. They make us selfish. But real selfishness is to recognize that the real self is Krishna. So Krishna is the Atma of Atma. So therefore he is called Paramatma, and Paramatma also means the supreme object of love. And that is what is being described here in this whole idea. So why it is being done here, that in this way, that if they are Nitya Siddha Gopis, then they already are having relationship with Krishna. Why they have to run there to meet him in the forest? So this is to show they are put into the mood of parakiya to show the intensity of the love. Because in the material world, the most intense love is seen between young boy and young girl who are not married. After marriage is just a mostly fight. Right? Yes? Experienced people? So all the nice feelings are before marriage. After marriage happens, you have seen Indian movies, when marriage is there, then the movie ends. Have you seen Indian movies, love stories? So the last thing will be that Sahnai Vadan is going on and they're going around. But actually that's when the life begins. This is just imagination. And that's why people go to see it. Otherwise they can see it in their own home. What is there to see there? So the real thing starts after marriage, and that nobody wants to see that, because that's practical experience of everybody. What is there to see? So they hanker for this earlier part. So that is what is being depicted here. That's why Krishna was not married. People try to force gopis who are married to Krishna. Why you want to marry them, for what? What is the big deal in getting married? What is the great achievement? So, therefore, love cannot be understood without understanding this parakiya relationship between Krishna and gopis. So that's why Vyasa has to describe it like that. But parakiyas are of two types, Kanya and Paroda, the unmarried girls. Parakiya means which is not your wife, basically, that's what parakiya means. Non-wife. Parakiya means non-wife. So that can be unmarried girl, or that can be a married wife of another person. But there is one problem with married wife. Married wife with children cannot be parakiya. So that's the thing which is being described here. Why is that? because that creates virasa. That Krishna is going to have relationship with somebody who is having children. So this does not fit in Sahitya. This Sahirdya cannot accept that. So this is the effort which is being made here to describe this and this slokas. Why there are two separate slokas? That they were stopped by the husband, but they still went. And then they were stopped by them and they could not go. Why these two divisions are made here? That's why I'm trying to explain that. This is the scene behind it from rasa point of view. Okay? So let's continue now. So kaschit tu nitya siddhadi gopi sangha bhagya abhavat. Right? We have to read from here. So there were some other gopis who did not have the fortune to have the association of Nitya Siddha Gopi. The previous ones, they had the good fortune. Kaschit itriyati Nitya Siddha Gopi Sang Bhumna Vaya Sandhi Dasam Arabhya. This is what we read about the previous one, that they had a good association with the Nitya Siddha Gopis. And these ones did not have. And because they did not have, therefore they did not get purified and reach to the prema, sneha and all state. So this shows how important it is to have the living association. Okay? These people who have this idea that you can just have somebody and you're going, this will not work. It's not working even up to this level. They are already in Vraj, still they need the living association of Nitya Siddhas. So you can feel the difference. So he says, Kaschit tu Nitya Siddhadi Gopi Sangha Bhagya Bhavat Alabdha Prematvat. So because they did not get the association of the Nitya Siddha Gopis, therefore they had not attained to that state of prema which the earlier ones had. That's why they said they got the Purvanurag. So they did not. So therefore Adagdha Kashaya. So they still had some Kashaya, some impurities left in them. Gopair Vyudha. And this is the reason that they could not go and meet Krishna, because they have to be first purified. In other words, you can have association of Krishna only when you have absolute, what is called 24 carats, the purest gold. When you have 24 carat prema. If it is 23.9, still it will not work. It has to be completely planes. So this is, so they were married to some Gopas, Gopair Vyudha, Gopair Upabhukta, and they also had relationship with the Gopas, and Apatyavatyo Babhu, and therefore they also had children, because it was described they were feeding milk, etc. So Takhalu Tadanantrameva Nitya Siddhadi Gopi Sangha Bhumna Krishna Anga Sangha Spriha Udrekat Purva Ragavatyastasham Kripa Patri Bhavantyopi Krishna Anga Sangha Yogya Dehatvena Yogamaya Sahaya Akarnat Patibhir Varita. So therefore after that they got also the association of Nitya Siddha Gopis, because when they got married they came to Braj, they lived with the Nitya Siddha Gopis, and therefore they also got the intense desire to have association with Krishna. So Krishna Anga Sangha Spriha Udrekat, and thus they also attained Purvaraga. Purvaraga means the state of love before one physically meets the lover. So tasam kripa patri bhavantyopi. So although they got the grace and thus they got the prema, they got the purvaraga, but their bodies were not fit to be associated with Krishna. So therefore Yogamaya did not help them. Yogamaya asahaya karanat, as Yogamaya helped the other gopis who were also stopped. So these ones did not get that help. Why? Because Yogamaya did not want them to go and meet Krishna because they were not fit yet. They were not qualified. So therefore patibhir varita, this was the reason that the husbands were able to stop them. Krishnam abhisartum akshama. So therefore they could not go and meet Krishna. And mahavipadgrastaha. So they fell into a great tribulation, great difficulty, because they now have such intense prema for Krishna. They want to go and meet him, but they were unable to do that. So then pati bhratiri pritradin swapranair varitvena pashyantyo. So they were seeing their husbands, brothers, parents, etc., who stopped them like their enemies. Because anyone who stops you from meeting Krishna is your enemy. Anyone who helps you to meet Krishna is your friend. This is the definition of enemy and friend on Bhakti Marg. Outside, you have different definitions. Who is your enemy? Who helps you in your material life? So here it is this. So pashyantyo maran dasayam upasthitayam satyam. So they, because of this, they almost came to the point of death. So that is called 10th state. When you have separation, the last stage is that you die. Before that, fainting, etc. But they did not die yet. Maran dasayam upasthitayam satyam yatha anya matradi swabandhu janam smarati tathaiva swapranayik bandhum krishnam sasmaru ityaha antariti. So he says that just like somebody here in the material world is dying, so at the time of death, whom do you remember? You remember somebody who is very close to you. Maybe your mother, your children, your husband, or whoever. So just like Ajamila, when Yamdutas came to take him, whom did he remember? His son, Narayan, because he was very much attached to that. So whatever is the object of attachment, that's what you remember at the time of death. King Bharat, he remembered the deer at the time of death because he has given up his family, kingdom, everything, so he was no more attached to that. But then he developed attachment to the deer, so he thought of the deer at that time. So these gopis now, they are remembering whom? Krishna, because he is their object of love. So therefore they are saying that they remembered him. So antargriha gata kaschit gopyo alabdh vinirgama krishnam tad bhavna yukta. So they remembered Krishna because they were full of bhavana or love for Krishna. And dadhyu milita lochana. So they meditated on him. They became fixed on him with their closed eyes. So that's what the sloka is describing. So the description of the sloka is only in few verses here, but rest was all introduction till now. So na labdho vinirgamo yabhista iti patibhir varya eva satarjanam sayashtikam upvishtatvad bhava. So they could not find any way to get out of the house because their husband, etc., were sitting there with a stick in their hand, that you move out and I will break your leg. Right? So Sayastikam, of which they said they are guarding them. And there was no way to get out. If somebody put you in a room, there is no window in it, how will you get out? Yes? Cannot get out. So therefore, they could not. So, Sadaiva tad bhavanaya yukta api tadanim dadhya. So they had that bhavana, bhav of Krishna. As Krishna says, yam yam vapi sarvan smaran bhavo tyajte ante kalevaram. Tam tam aveti konte sada tad bhav bhavita. So they are bhav bhavita, with Krishna bhav bhavita. They are absorbed in thought of Krishna even before, not only now. And therefore at the time when they thought we are now going to die, they thought only of Krishna. So this will be described there, that they will give up their body and attain Krishna. Because Krishna says that you attain what you think of at the time of death. So this is being described here, that they meditated on this. And this is what they are saying. Ha ha pranaik bandho Vrindavan kala nidhe janmantare pitot prayasi bhuyasma asminant kale tvan mukhchandram chakshusha napashyam bhavatu manasapi pashyani iti pratyekam swagatam anulapantyo mudrita lochanaha satyo nitram dadya. So they were saying, alas, alas, O friend of our life, the ocean of the beauty of Vrindavan. Even in another life, we want to be your beloved, Tvat Prayasi Bhuvasam. And now in this life, at the end, when we are dying, we are unable to see your face with our eyes. Therefore, we are closing our eyes and seeing you with our mind. That's why they close the eyes. Because with the eyes, we will see only these husbands or whoever is there. They don't want to see. So therefore they close the eyes, and with the eye of the mind they are seeing Krishna. So bhavatu manasapi pashyani. So let us not see you with the eyes, but at least we see you with our mind. So this is how each one of them thought. Pratyekam swagatam anulapantyo. So they verbally spoke out like that, what was within their mind. Mudrita lochana satyo nitram dadyo. So in this way, with closed eyes, they meditated on Krishna. So this is the end of this sloka. Any question on this? Malati?
It seems when these gopis speak in plural form, that they were aware of each other. They knew that it's not only one, but there are others also. But the other gopis who first came to Krishna, we heard that they were not aware of each other. Each one just went by themselves.
No, the gopis are not speaking in plural. This is the commentator who is speaking.
Okay. So they were not aware that there were others also who felt like that.
No.
Okay, and so they had Purva Raga. That means when they meditated on Krishna, they had never seen him before. So it's correct?
They have not met him. They must have seen. Maybe not seen, but at least not met him.
But they knew about him.
Yeah.
And so it was said that first they did not have association with Nityasiddhas, but then they got married, and because of that, they got the association of the Nityasiddhas, and therefore they
Yeah, it's possible that they were born outside Vraja and they got married and came to Vraja.
Okay, so they got the association only after they got married, and they were already touched by their husbands, so therefore their bodies were not spiritual.
It was also not, it is described it will come later on. That how body mixture. It was a sankar, material spiritual sankar. This will come in the next commentary. Because there is talk of purification of the body there, so Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur will explain it clearly.
Thank you.
Bhushan.
Babaji Pranams. In Sri Krishna Sandarbha, it was discussed as far as this the Nityas and the Gopis are basically the source of Lakshmis. So is it, I just want to clarify this, when we talk about sadhana with the Gopi, they don't actually become Gopi, but they just they become the servants of the Nityas and the Gopis. Would that be a correct understanding? Or they get a bhava similar to that?
So what is the difference?
The difference is like they are actually a parashad of Bhagwan. I mean, nobody can become a parashad of Bhagwan.
Yeah, but they are going to meet him directly, so they are also gopis.
Okay.
Okay, Lord Ellen.
Yes, Babaji. I have a question about Shruti Chari Gopis. Does it mean that in previous life the Shruti itself wanted to go into Rāsa-līlā to be with Krishna himself?
Yes.
And is it described somewhere? Is there a story related, like for Rishi Chari, who associated Rama with Krishna,
Yeah, this came. He was citing some slokas, I think, from Brihad-vyama Vaman Purana.
Okay. Thank you.
Mohini.
Babaji, I have two questions. One is, when these gopis who were like married and then they came to Vrindavan, they had kashaya in their body and mind. So why were they able to hear Krishna's flute if they were impure?
They are not that impure.
Okay. And the second question is what Malati asked, and you replied that these gopis are not speaking in plural. It's the commentator who is speaking in plural about them.
Yeah.
Can you explain why is the commentator speaking in plural?
Because the sloka itself is in plural. Antargriha gata kaschit. So this is in plural. That some were blocked inside the house. So some here does not mean one, but many. And gopya is in plural.
Okay. So this means that as Malati asked, these gopis did not know among each other that they are blocked.
Yes.
Okay.
Purushottam Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. This is Sruticharis. They are unlimited, basically Sruticharis.
Srutichari gopis?
Yeah, well, if the Sruti becomes the Gopi, then that part of the Vedas are probably on or something, or there are unlimited Srutis and then other text place of that same Sruti?
No, Srutis are unlimited.
Okay, that's what my question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, yes.
Babaji, is it necessary for a sadhaka who has been involved in any dharmic activity in this life before starting following the Vaishnava Dharma to take birth again and be free of any negative samskara in order to attain bhava? Or is it possible that even if he had some activities which do not go in line with bhakti, but by the power of bhakti he can be purified, he or she, and attain even bhava state, even in this very body in which he was engaged, or he or she in various activities?
Yeah, that is possible.
when the commentator says this Nitya Siddhadi Gopi Sangha, is the Adi here significant, and could it mean that not only the Nitya Siddhas but also those who had contact with Nitya Siddhas can give this level of
Yeah, and also
prema,
not only Nitya Siddha Gopis, but they are also Gopas. They're not only associated with them, they are also men.
So then these Sadhan Siddha Gopis, they would get prema from the Gopas?
And they are associated. He's not saying that they got them. When he said Nitya Siddha Gopi, he's saying that they are associated with Nitya Siddha Gopi. But it's not that they associate only with Gopis, they also associate with them.
Okay, I mean he says Nitya Siddhadi Gopi Sangha. But okay.
Yeah, so Nitya Siddha is Gopi and Nitya Siddha are Gopas. Nitya Siddhas are cows, and Nitya Siddhas are deers and trees. So they associate with them also. Okay, so now sloka number 10. Dussaha preshta virha tivra tapa dhuta shubhaha dhyana prapta chutashlesha nirvritya kshina mangalaha tameva paramatmanam jara buddhyapi sangataha jahor gunmayam deham sadhyah prakshina bandhanaha. So now these two slokas, they are describing that how these gopis, they gave up their bodies and attained Krishna. So that is the basic meaning of this slokas, but there are many important things which are described here. So first thing is that Dussaha Preshta Viraha. So they had intense suffering, intolerable or difficult to tolerate. Preshta Viraha Tivra Tapa. So Tapa means suffering, Tivra means very intense, and Viraha is separation, and Preshta is lover Krishna, and Dussaha. So tolerable, intense suffering from separation from their beloved Krishna. And Dhuta Asubha. And because of this intense suffering, all their inauspiciousness was dispelled or shaken off. That is the simple meaning. But we will see how the commentator will explain. And dhyana prapta achuta shlesha nirvritya kshina mangala. And then in their meditation, they had the embrace of Krishna. And by the experience of bliss of embracing Krishna, their auspicious things were dropped. So everybody in the material world has good karma and bad karma. Some things we do here in life, knowingly, unknowingly, that is good and you get good karma. And certain things we do here in our life, we get bad karma. So bad karma leads to papa, sin, which means suffering. And good karma leads to punya, which means happiness. So that's how you have Swarga and Naraka. Swarga means place of happiness, Naraka means place of suffering. Here in our life also we always have this mixture of happiness and suffering, because that's how our life is, mixture of these two. So if we do something wrong, we have to suffer for that. If we do something good, we have to enjoy that. So now, if you have done something bad and you suffer, then you become free from that bad karma. Right? So suffering means getting rid of your bad karma load. And enjoying means you are getting free from your good karma So they suffered separation from Krishna. So therefore they became free from all bad karma. This is direct explanation. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur will not agree with that. Because if they are great devotees, where is the bad karma or good karma? Bad good karma gets dropped much earlier. Right?
Yeah.
So in the very beginning we say that bhakti is shubhada. Gives
Vishakani.
yeah, it's auspicious, it gives auspiciousness and removes all the klesha. So, and then because they got the happiness of embracing Krishna, therefore all their good karma was dropped. That's how the verse appears to be saying, but it does not fit in bhakti, and some commentators have explained it like that. Because that's the simple meaning which comes from that. And now because they became free from both papa and punya, good karma and bad karma, they attained Krishna. Because to attain Krishna you have to become transcendental to bad and good karma. That is mukti. So therefore it says, tameva paramatmanam jar buddhyapi sangata. That they attained that very Paramatma, although they were thinking of him as Paramar. They were not thinking of Krishna as God, as Bhagavan, as Narayana. Still they attained him and they gave up their gunamaya deha, their body, which is made of the gunas of Prakriti, and sadhya prakshina bandhana, because all their bondages were completely cut asunder. So that's how the sloka appear to be, but the slokas are very deep. They have very deep meaning, and that's why Bhāgavatam is not easy to understand. Even the great commentators have, in a way, misinterpreted this sloka. So let's see the commentary. It's a very long commentary. We'll do as much as we can. So atra gopinam prapyam atirahasyam vastu bahirang lokebhya gopiyan stan prati bahyartham अंतरंगान भक्ति सिद्धांत विज्ञान प्रतितु स्वाभिप्सितम अभ्यंतरम एवं अर्थम ज्ञापन तंत्रेण दुस्साह. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that these slokas have double meaning. There are many slokas like that in Bhāgavatam, in Shastra, in Bhagavad Gita also, where you have double meaning. So one meaning is for those who are not devotees, because they also have their understanding. They also read Shastra, they are dharmic people, they are not devotees, but they may be following Karma Yoga, Gyan Marg. So there is one understanding which they have, and it comes from the same sloka. And then there are devotees who have another understanding, and it also comes from the same sloka. So therefore there is a bahiranga meaning, there is an external meaning, and then there is an internal meaning. So yesterday, where is Tanmaji? He was asking about literal meaning. So this is literal meaning, that is the external meaning. And non-literal meaning is the internal meaning. So I think it is Bhaktivinoda Thakur who says there are bharvahis and sargrahis. So there are people who study Shastra, but they carry the load of the Shastra like a donkey, bharvahi, because they don't know the true meaning of the Shastra. And there are others, sargrahi, who understand the essence of it. So literal does not work always, because literal will not work here. It will contradict many things elsewhere if you know the bhakti. you understand how bhakti works, then literal meaning will not work here. So therefore he says that gopis, they attained the most secret thing, ati rahasyam. So that is very secret, and therefore it is not meant for external people. So the author, Vyasadeva or Sukadeva, the speaker, he hides the true meaning by speaking in this manner. So for them, external meaning, bahyam artham, external meaning. So they feel also that it fits in their philosophy that you have good karma, you have bad karma. Bad karma is burnt by suffering, and good karma is burnt by enjoyment. So the sloka itself says that by the suffering of separation, which was intense suffering, they became free from their bad karma, dhuta ashubha, and they got the embrace of Krishna, therefore they became free from their good karma also. And bhakti is beyond both good and bad, so then they attain Krishna. So this very, very much fits in the theory of karma, but not in the theory of bhakti. So therefore those, he says, bhakti siddhant vijyan prati, those who understand the principle of bhakti, for them there is an internal meaning, which is the desirable meaning of the speaker. When speaker is speaking, which is the one which he is desiring? Means, so does he desire the internal or external? Of course external for external people, but he is not speaking this for external people, for internal people. So he desires, or he gives the internal meaning. So swabhipshitam abhyantaram eva artham gyāpayan. So which is his true heart, the inner meaning. And this is spoken by Tantra. This style of speaking is called Tantra style, which means joint meaning. Tantra here means joint. Two meanings joined together. So both people are sitting in the audience, you speak in a way that both will understand. Both take meaning according to their own concept of life. So therefore, the jnanis, the karma yogis, the many different types of sages are sitting, they take that meaning, and then there are devotees like Narada was there, Vyasa was there, and Parikshit Maharaj himself, Sut Goswami was also sitting there listening. So they understand the inner meaning. So dussahayati. So first he gives the meaning for those who are bahirmukhas, non-devotees. So tatra bahirmukhan prati tabhyah Krishna moksham dadau ityah. So as far as bahirmukhas are concerned, for them Krishna gave them mukti. Because yamyam vapi smaran bhavam taste ante kalevaram. So they are remembering Krishna at the time of death. And Krishna is Paramatma. So if you think of Paramatma, so then you get moksha. So tajan deham yati param gatim, ten paragati moksha. So Krishna gave moksha to them. So it fits very nicely in their understanding. So therefore it is a dussaho. So dussaho yaha preshtha virha tena tivra tapaha. So they are feeling very intense separation from their lover Sri Krishna, and because of this intense suffering, tena dhutani gatani ashubhani. So that intense suffering removed all their bad karma completely. They became completely free from all bad karma. Ashubhani asanta. And then, if you become free from bad karma, then you don't go to hell, but then you'll go to heaven. because you have good karma. So the good karma also has to be finished. So therefore it is said, dhyanena praptasya achyutasya sleshena ya nirvritti rananda taya kshinam mangalam punyam yashantu. Then because they were intensely meditating on Krishna, in their meditation they got the embrace of Krishna, and that embrace gave them bliss, ananda, and because of this bliss all their punya karma was destroyed. So therefore no more going to heaven and no more going to hell. Then you become mukta, you become karma free. Ataha prakshina prarabdha bandhana. So therefore it is said in sloka number 11, prakshina bandhana, that their bandhana of the prarabdha karma, because prarabdha karma is most difficult to get rid of. A prarabdha karma is easier than prarabdha karma. So prarabdha karma was destroyed at that time. And when prarabdha karma is destroyed, you don't exist in the body. And you have to, because body is running on prarabdha karma, that is its fuel. So then there is nothing to run it. So drop dead. The moksha. Because now you cannot go anywhere in the material world, you have no more karma left. You take birth in the material world when you have some karma left. They had no good karma left, no bad karma left. So they are kicked out of the material world. So that's why it is said prakshina bandhana. Free from bondage. Free from bondage means moksha. That's what moksha means. Moksha means liberation. Liberation from what? From bondage. So that's what happened to them. So ataha prakshina prarabdha bandhana jar buddhyapi tameva paramatmanam praptaha deham jahuriti. So they attained that very Paramatma, Krishna, although they were not thinking of him as Paramatma. They were not thinking of Krishna, that Krishna is God, but still they are thinking of Krishna. So they attained him. Because this is what Krishna says, whatever you think, you attain that. So they attained Krishna, although their meditation on Krishna was by Jara Buddhi, or their lover, their paramour. So Deham Jahu, they gave up their Gunmayam. So Jahur Gunmayam Deham, Sadhya Prakshina Bandhana. So this is the explanation for non-devotees. And the explanation for devotees, that we will read in the next class. So any question on this?
The verse says that they attained Paramatma although they were thinking about him as Krishna. Is it possible to interpret this sentence by saying that they were thinking of an ordinary person, but they attained Paramatma and not just an ordinary boy, and that's why the word Paramatma is used here, just to show that Krishna is not an ordinary person but Paramatma?
Yeah, but they were not thinking that he is a Paramatma.
But can this word just indicate the fact that Krishna is not an ordinary person?
Which one?
Paramatma.
No, this, obviously if he is Paramatma, he is not ordinary. I don't understand your question. If they attend Paramatma, who is Krishna, then he is not ordinary person.
Yeah, so my question is probably, so they were thinking of him as an ordinary person, but he isn't.
Yeah.
And can the word Paramatma in the verse just indicate that this love wasn't material and that their meditation was on someone who is not just an ordinary boy.
No, the verse does not say that. But it's understood from the context. Anything else? Yes.
I have a question on this broader discussion of literal versus sahitic meaning. And yesterday you discussed that the qualities one has only become visible in the face of obstacles. So for example, vairagya is only visible when one has actually the facility to enjoy. Otherwise, not. So therefore, just being reminded of what we just said in Chaitanya Charitamrita class last weekend, there was a description of Raghunath Das Goswami. And I was wondering now, in the face of this discussion, if the description of his enormous facility to enjoy and the obstacles he had and the intense vairagya he displayed, can they also be literal, or is this only a sahitic meaning?
So that there is no way to answer your question unless somebody was physically present at that time, or somebody just writing a literal description of his life. We don't know. But if you would ask me, then I will say yes, it is literal, because then only the conveyed meaning comes. After all, the author wants to convey that meaning of his intense love for Mahaprabhu. And that is understood because he had all these intense obstacles. Otherwise, if I say that, well, actually there were no obstacles, then how do I know what kind of love he had? So it has to be taken like that. But what I am saying is that it is author's creation when he wants to show that. Otherwise, how will we know that he had such love? The author knows that he had such love. Now he wants us to know. So that's the technique.
So therefore, not necessarily when we see some bombastic descriptions, I might say, about, for example, the wealth that his family possessed, then not necessarily they are not literally
they say
true.
that he had wealth which is more like Kubera or something, right? He said Kubera?
I think Indra.
So obviously this is Atishayokti Alankar. But the idea is to convey that. How the wealth like Indra will come here on earth? He was not even a king. His parents were not, they were just Jamidar. If they had a wealth like this, then how much wealth the king will have? And the king has less wealth, he will confiscate it. How can somebody have more wealth than the king in his kingdom? So that is how you have to think, but for common people it has to be spoken like that. Yes, Sandeep.
My question was that in this last verse we discussed that Sangha of Nityasiddha Gopis. So when they're in Vraja, then this Sangha also happen Yadrichya, or because one is purified that much and then he can have an inkling that these are Nityasiddha, so I have to associate, and or is it just Yadrichya even there?
So what do you mean by Yadrichya?
Yadrichya means there is no cause to that, no material cause.
So obviously there is no material cause there.
Okay.
There is no material cause.
But once one has come to that purification state, would not one have some intuitive faculty to know?
Yeah, once you come there, you are going to be nitya. You are going to become siddha. Otherwise, why? How is that you are born there? For what? It's understood.
Thank you.
Mohini.
Babaji, I had a question about what you said, like good karma is burned by enjoyment. That mean enjoyment also on this earth, like when humans, when the indriya arthas come in contact with the indriyas, and when there is the ability to enjoy that contact, that is a result of good karma.
Yes.
And what when one is like aware, okay, I have the ability to enjoy chocolate, and so that enjoyment is a result of my good karma.
Chocolate is coming to you by good karma.
I mean, I need also the ability. I don't have to be sick. If I am sick and I have chocolate, I cannot enjoy.
Well, that is bad karma. So two things are happening. By good karma, you are getting chocolate. By bad karma, you are having sickness.
Okay, but when all circumstances are favorable, that I can enjoy the indriya arthas, and I refuse to enjoy it, what will happen to the good karma?
The good karma is already giving its result. Whether
if I don't take the result?
That's up to you. Whether you take or not take, you got the result.
Okay.
You don't take it, that's your choice.
But
Just like suffering comes to me by my bad karma, and I say, no, I'm not going to suffer. I can become dejected, and then I say, no, I will not become dejected. So dejection is coming because of bad karma, but I don't become.
Okay, so I am not bound to enjoy, like, okay, when the objects come and I don't react on them, then they will pass, or they will like stay in queue until I am forced to enjoy the result.
No one can force you. Once they have come, that karma is over. Now you enjoy or not enjoy, that is your choice.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay? Yes.
Hello. So let's say I've kept my son's name as Krishna, and at the time of death I call my son. Will I get moksha?
If you really get call at the time of death, yes.
Thank you.
But generally, it doesn't happen like that. Okay.